Hey everybody, I am creating an art journal page today with a grungy kind of collage background using these more neutral papers. In my square art journal, that's the one I use quite often during the last month, I would say. It's from Action, that's a local store here in Europe where you get all kinds of different stuff and especially a lot of craft supplies and also this art journal. I'm adhering the papers with my Tombow glue stick. I'm speeding this part up because otherwise the video would be too long and that's also not very interesting, see me sticking down papers. The papers are all different. I have them in my scrap box with the smallest pieces I have, and they are sorted by color, and these are the more neutral ones without a lot of color, and some of them are old book paper that I have stamped on. Some of it is painted. There are different old book pages. Some have some jelly printing on. I also think I use papers from a stationery supply piece I got a while ago. Everything that looks a bit vintagey to me and brown, beige or neutral. I also picked some transparent colors from my bigger stash box, which is some kind of rice paper, which I have stamped with acrylic paint. I use these quite a lot in my collage work because I think the transparency makes everything quite interesting and I really like the look of it. Once I'm done with my collaging, I'm going to cover the whole spread with a layer of clear gesso, so I will be able to go on top with wet mediums. Once my gesso is dry, I'm going on top with some, I think it's raw umber acrylic ink. I wanted to have a brownish, darkish color on the background, and that's just the reason why I picked this. I think that should be burnt umber. You can use any kind of fluid medium to bring in some color. You can even use distress inks. I'm also going to use some of the Distress Oxide sprays again. I'm just going not to spray them because I don't like when everything is covered with that fine spray mist, and I just add some of it to my background. I really like when you go in with a bit of water that you get that white effect of the oxides, and I think that makes something or that gives something a shabby or vintage look, and that was what I am going for here on the spread. Once the background is dry, you will be able to see the oxide effect, and I let the background dry to add another layer. And this time I'm using the cracked pistachio oxide spray because I really like that turquoisey brownish mixture, and I think it's a perfect vintage combo. And I'm also blending this in with a little bit of water. I had the feeling that everything was quite at the same tonal value, and that was the reason I'm using that Art Graf white watercolor it's from Art Graf, and it's called Tailor Shape. You can draw with it, but you can also use it like watercolors, and I really love them. I use these crayons a lot in my sketchbook, and I love the white for white splatters or white marks because it's very opaque. I've never seen a watercolor that is in the same, that has the same opacity, I would say, and that's what I really like. I'm also using the black, and I'm painting kind of a bottom to my page because I plan to put on top some flowers, a pot with flowers. And the black is also one of my favorite colors. And I'm going to add in some extra black because I still feel that the contrast of the background is not high enough. And that makes it a bit boring. It's also quite mid-tone heavy, I would say. So that's the reason why I'm going in with black on the background, to bring in that contrast and to make it more interesting and to turn the value more to a darker value. So when I'm adding flowers later, those will pop up more from the background. I dried the page again with my heat tool, and I make in here some splatters with the black Art Graf. And I'm not sure, I think I will also make some white splatters with the white one, of course. While the background was drying, I cut a flower pot from a jelly print, and I picked that green white with a bit of yellow paper. And here I have already my flowers. I prepared them a while ago. They are embossed in black to mixed media cardstock and then quickly colored in with Brushos powders, and then I cut them out. I'm going to use one of those for the flower pot. Before I'm gluing down the pot, I'm going to ink the edges of it with black to give it more dimension. And I'm using a black water-soluble pencil for that. I will now arrange my whole composition, and I'm speeding this up because later I will show you how I put everything together. But I do this first, then I'm taking a photo of it, and then I put everything out and glue the flowers onto the page. I took a photo with my phone and then placed it in front of me so I have it to put everything together again. Before I do this, I just add a little bit of background stamping right over the bottom of my arrangement or of my composition using a script stamp from our Mix It Up #6 stamp set. I will link up all the stamp sets I'm using and all the products in the video description. You will also find a link to the blog where you can have a look at the close-up images of the page. And of course, if you are liking the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a nice comment. To stick down everything I thought I would just use my glue stick and put down the bottom of the vase so I can lift it at the top and put the flowers into it. I think that the pot did not hold very well, and then I changed my mind and adhered it with some liquid craft glue. I will speed this up a little bit, not as much as the first one, because it takes me quite a while to put everything together. Sometimes I changed my mind and just quickly tried to remove some of the background leaves. I'm glad that worked because the tacky glue adheres quite quickly. I'm using that glue pen from Craftelier. For my sentiment, I picked out some jelly printed paper scraps and I'm using our new A to Z stamp set, and I'm just stamping some letters to build my sentiment to the page. And I think I'm using the bigger ones this time, and I stamp each letter separately onto an area where I thought that might be really nice. Unfortunately, I stamped some of the letters off camera, so you cannot see it, but I'm spelling the word bloom, and I'm going to cut out the letters separately. Not the letter, just the square around it. And then I'm going to adhere that to my page. I'm placing the letters to my page. I think I'm going to put that on the bottom, but I'm trying it also to on the right side of the page, but I think the bottom looks just better than the right side, but it's always, why not try it? It's nothing done because I have no glue on them, so I can just experiment and see what I like the most. I think this composition or this flower arrangement would also be very beautiful in a smaller version on a greeting card. I'm adhering the letters just with my glue stick, and I'm placing them a little bit more downwards to this layout, more to the one I made at first. Yes, and that's the finished page. I hope you enjoyed that video and you like the page and you are inspired. I wish you a lovely rest of the day. Bye.